Now, I know that game week 13 isn't quite over yet, but there's still plenty to talk about. So here are my thoughts on players to buy and avoid for game week 14. I'm trying not to get too carried away with this one. I know he scored against Chelsea, which I think is going to make him a popular asset with a lot of players this week. But beyond just that, Anthony Gordon has been a fantastic FPL pick this season. He's made 11 starts and got 10 attacking returns in total. Obviously, that is a slight overperformance of the expected stats that you can see next to them. But I think regardless, he's a fantastic option. He looks to be that first choice left winger for Newcastle. Obviously, the Barnes injury reduces the competition for that position. I also think the fact that he works really well defensively makes him one of Eddie Howe's favourites. And of course, he has just proven to be one of the best sub 6 million mids in the game. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with the value that he offers. He's putting up some really strong numbers and fixtures coming up. Man United, yes, on the face of it, you might think that's a tough game, but I feel like it's St James's Park. Newcastle can beat anyone. And to be honest, Man United, they've not been playing all that well this season, so you could well see Newcastle winning that game. Everton away could be quite tough, but again, I mean, Anthony Gordon going back to Goodison Park, that's kind of written in the stars for him to score. Spurs away, you know, without Van der Ven, I think they're a lot weaker defensively than they were previously, and then it's Fulham and Luton. I just see him doing really well in that run of fixtures, and I definitely think he's a player to be buying. Next up is a player that didn't actually score a goal in game week 13, but that doesn't put me off him as an option. I still feel like Cole Palmer is a fantastic player to buy. Seems to be nailed in that Chelsea team, and Nkunku's coming back to full fitness, so he's going to appear, but I don't think that will reduce Cole Palmer's minutes. He's still going to be Chelsea's pen taker, in my opinion, even when Nkunku comes back. He's been taking them so well. I just don't see any reason for Pochettino to get rid of him on pens, basically. The penalty merchant kind of vibe around him, I think that's a bit of a myth, to be honest. He's put up some really decent non-penalty expected goals numbers. You can see there 1.7. Then he's also got 3 assists this season. So he is clearly still dangerous from open play. They've got a lovely fixture run from game week 18. They've got a lovely fixture run from game week 16 onwards as well. Then Brighton and Man United. I feel like Brighton, they've not kept a clean sheet yet this season, so Chelsea could well do well against Brighton. And then Man United, they've not looked all that special, so wouldn't rule out a goal for him in that fixture either. Then, of course, it's the lovely run from 16. Now, I'm just going to caveat this by saying I have recommended Jamal Lascelles as an FPL option every game week that he's been in that starting 11. I just don't think you can go wrong for a 4.1 million starting Newcastle defender. And I think with the looks of Botman's injuries being further complicated, I think Lascelles is going to start for the foreseeable. And yes, the rest of the Newcastle team, well, when they played Bournemouth, they had a lot of injuries and you could see a real drop-off. But I think when Lascelles has been replacing Botman, that specific replacement, I don't think I've seen any real drop-off in terms of Newcastle's performances. Lascelles has played really well. And I think just St James's Park is such a factor for Newcastle. I think they could well keep a clean sheet against Man United in game week 14. I wouldn't rule that out at all. Everton away, you know, if you don't fancy him for that game, you can bench him at 4.1 million, right? I just think you can't say no, particularly if you've got 2 frees, not sure what to do, sitting on someone like Kabore, Bulldog, someone like that, who's only 4 million, just replace him with Lascelles, because you never know when you might need him. And to be honest, in game week 14, you could well be starting him. Now, I wondered if you could do me a favour. If you're enjoying the video so far, please make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel as well, set the notification bell so you can see when I upload next. If you're really enjoying the video, please consider joining as a channel member. You'll get early access to all of my videos, and when I deadline stream, I'll give you priority when I rate people's teams in Draft Hound. You can also, if you want to support the channel in a different way, check out my shop down below. You can buy yourself a golden goal sticker or a mug. All right, back to the video. Bukayo Saka is a player that is really rewarding managers that have been patient with him. He got another assist against Brentford when Arsenal didn't play all that well, and neither did he really, but he's still got the all-important assist for the winner. I just think, you know, he's Arsenal's designated penalty taker. Despite giving some of them away, he's going to end up with some penalties, at least until the end of the season. He's just Arsenal's talisman and best player. There's no competition for that right wing spot in that Arsenal team, in my opinion. He's going to keep playing so long as he's even reasonably fit, because Arteta seems to be playing him through injuries. And yeah, just in general, he's the kind of player that just will reward patience. So even if you're an owner, you might be thinking of selling him because he's not looked all that exciting, but I just wouldn't go anywhere near selling him, to be honest. I think he's going to reward your patience, and he's still a really solid pick. Brian Mbeumo is just one of my favourite players in FPL. I know he didn't actually get an attack in return against Arsenal, but he still looked really dangerous in that game and had a fantastic chance, which unfortunately he missed. But he is just consistently knocking out returns at all levels, against all levels of opposition, basically. And I feel like if he scored that goal against Arsenal, people would be touting him even more highly. He's obviously the Brentford penalty taker with no Tony. He's guaranteed to start for Brentford and play 90 minutes every game. I think he's one of the few outfield non-defenders, so like midfielders and forwards, that have played 90 minutes every game so far this season. The underlying numbers as well for him are fantastic. 0.87 expected returns per 90 is absolutely brilliant. He does, of course, blank in game week 18, so when you're bringing him in, you've got to realise that that's probably going to happen. He could double in game week 20, although I'd say that's still likely to happen, but given that time is passing by and that fixture still hasn't been confirmed yet, when that replay of Man City and Brentford goes ahead, that's obviously been moved from 18, we'll see. But regardless, I think Mbeumo is a fantastic option. Putting up those underlying numbers, those minutes, penalties for that price, fantastic value. Now, David Raya obviously didn't feature in game week 13, but that was, of course, because he's on loan from Brentford and he was ineligible to play. But I think he is Arteta's first choice goalkeeper, especially as I don't think Ramsdale's looked all that good when he has had his chances. And Arsenal, they're the best defence in the league at the moment for expected goals conceded. They've got some decent fixtures coming up. You've got to obviously bear in mind that he's going to be ineligible to play Brentford when they face each other again. But given they've just played each other, I wouldn't really let that put me off. The saves aren't great, so really you're picking him for clean sheets. But I think for the price and the potential for clean sheets that he's going to get, I just think he's a fantastic option. He's kept a clean sheet in half the games that he's played, and he's only conceded 6 goals from 8 starts. So yeah, maybe you have a goalkeeper, a simple, cheap goalkeeper that a lot of people also own that you might be looking to get rid of. I'll get onto him in a second. David Raya could be the man to replace him. Now, I'll admit this is not the most interesting transfer in the world, so you can ignore me and move on to the next player if you really want to. But I think Antoine Semenyo is emerging as the best 4.5 million forward in the game. Again, similar to what I said around Lascelles, you might be in a situation where you've got 2 free transfers, not entirely sure what to do. Perhaps you could replace, well, maybe if you favour Semenyo over Archer, you could replace the likes of Archer for this guy. I just think he has proven to be the best player at this price in the position. He's got 4 attacking returns from 6 starts. The Bournemouth manager seems to be favouring him now, and he seems to be starting regularly. And I think Bournemouth, you know, they're still a fixture to target defensively, but they have been scoring in their recent games, and certainly Semenyo has been a big part of that. I just think he's the best of the forwards at this price. And to be honest, I kind of said this at the start of the season, even when Archer was signed for Sheffield United. I'm a Bristol City fan, the team that Bournemouth bought Semenyo from. So I know how good of a player he is and how good he's going to be in the Premier League. And he's proven that already. So for the 4.5 million strikers, I think Semenyo is the best. If you want to make, well, if you've got 2 free transfers, looking not to waste one next week, I think bringing in Semenyo could be a good idea. I had to talk about Areola, the most owned goalkeeper in the game. I think most people will be starting with him consistently now. I think the fact that the Turner-Areola rotation is kind of over with the other Nottingham Forest keeper starting for them now. You've got to rely on Areola basically to keep starting and getting clean sheets. I want to giggle every time I say Areola, by the way. But I just think there are better goalkeeping options. Yes, he's made a load of saves, but I think the fact that West Ham are conceding so many goals, he's going to get minus points for conceding goals, and that's just not going to help in terms of saves. I just think there are better goalkeeping options, basically. And I also feel the dynamic of the way the game is going at the moment, there's lots of cheap players that are performing really well. You can spend a bit more, in my opinion, on a better goalkeeper. Alright, and that's the end of the video. Let me know what you thought of my suggestions there in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be around there, and I'll catch you in my next video.